Hi there, welcome to FMCG by Alex. Today I would like to talk to you about Horeca and food service in particular. Let's start with the channel structure. Horeca is hotel, restaurant, cafe, and catering in some cases also is added to it. So hotels, people stay there. They also have meals there. They order room service. They order from the minibar. Restaurants, you have a meal there. You eat, you drink. Sometimes they also sell other things there. Cafe and bistro is more for hanging out. So you look at more drinking coffee, beverages, sometimes a small meal, some more snacks also. And then catering and food service, they in essence cater to various events. This is something that brings everything to the table in essence. So both food, beverages, snacks, frozen, ambient, etc. Everything is needed in all these channels basically. So how does distribution work? You have in essence two layers, distributors and wholesalers. Cash and carry is a type of wholesaler. Distributors are people who represent brands. So they are companies that represent brands, bring the brand and offer it to various customers. That can be both to restaurants, Horeca customers, food service customers, or to wholesalers. So they represent it to wholesalers. So normally distributors are appointed if the brand owner doesn't have an office in the country itself, then a distributor is responsible for the brand. Can be for smaller brands or uh, expensive to have an office in every single country in the world. Normally, if a brand has an office in a country, then they work directly with wholesalers. You have the sales force of the brand owner going to restaurants and other food service outlets, basically food service customers, to take the order, and they let the wholesaler of choice deliver it. So the wholesaler is then a very passive. The Netherlands is, for example, very passive. You also have very active ones, but they have their own sales force. They have their own push and shove people, basically in that sense. But wholesalers in Europe normally are more passive. That also links to the cash and carry. Cash and carry is actually a wholesaler that has a bit of like a supermarket, supermarket sort of layout, where they sell big packaging, quantities, large quantities of things that are specifically for the Horeca and Food Channel service. So, let's say a jar of mayonnaise. If you are a consumer, you buy in the shop, you buy a small jar of mayonnaise because maybe there's only two, three, four people at home, and one jar will last you for a full month. Now, if you actually have a snack bar or a restaurant and everybody orders mayonnaise with it, yeah, one jar, you have to buy a ton of jars in order to serve all these customers. So normally they have these big tubs of mayonnaise to serve to their customers and to pump from basically. So they have a pump mechanism on the top of this jar. Now that's an example of a large packaging that is like say Horeca packaging. Usually that's a bit sober. They don't have this. Um, not very fancy packaging. That's what I'm trying to say here. Um, with regards to cash and carry, some countries have a more yeah developed channel in that sense. Macro comes to mind, Lotte comes to mind. US has a couple of wholesale clubs as well. So there are a lot of these independents as well that serve certain geographic areas. So it's very important to have this as a link in the chain. It's a stock point for distributors, and it's a stock point for brand owners in that sense. Very passive, like I mentioned. It's in the Netherlands they're very passive in for example, a country, a market like Indonesia, they're quite active, quite proactive. You have to deliver. You also have to have a sales force of your own. Usually, there are also passive ones, though. That's basically, in a nutshell, the uh, rundown of the distribution. Then I go into channel specific, so things to look out for in the channel. So people who own a restaurant, they are usually looking at everything as an ingredient because they are using it to cook something or produce something. It's sort of an ingredient for another product they are selling. If it's not, it's a service item. Of course, there are luxury restaurants where they really have to serve a specific type of wine, or they are very proud to serve a specific sort of gourmet coffee, and then the brand is important. But usually, the brand is less important because If you have a cheap brand or a more expensive brand, when you chop up an ingredient or you use it into something where the brand is not visible anymore, yeah, does it matter what it costs, where it came from? We always used to joke that the more stars a hotel has, so a five-star hotel, the cheaper the product, the more stingy they are with regards to suppliers. It's not always the case, by the way. I'm maybe exaggerating a little bit, but we've seen a couple of examples where you think, okay, so a five-star hotel doesn't have the budget to, or doesn't want to spend the budget to give their guests the best. They really are stingy on the ingredients, basically. So keep that in mind when you try and offer your branded product to a Horeca or food service channel. If you are really interested in pushing your brand, for example, a beverage could work. Like people will ask for the specific beverage, like a soft drink or something like that. But as soon as it's actually used in their food, the food they serve, the meals they serve, then it becomes a more price sensitive matter. So people are more inclined to go for the cheapest ingredient rather than the best. So if, I've had this issue with milk. We had a very big competitor for milk in Indonesia. They supplied a lot of other stuff. I will go back into that in a moment, but they were basically quite strong in the Horeca channel because milk for them was a commodity, part of a concept. For us, the brand was it. So we were very strong in retail, but not so strong in food service, because in food service, the brand was less important, because in the end, in a hotel, they would put it into a big dispenser. There's no brand on it. Yeah. So in the morning, milk, that's it. So milk is milk, and nobody, you use what is there. Then one of the other channel specifics is that out of stock means no business. So if you have no ingredients, so let's say delivery doesn't come, then the restaurant owner has a problem because he has nothing to cook with. That's the issue with no stock, no business. So for them, the reliability of delivery is very important as a result. So if you always do what you promise and you are maybe able to deliver quick, fast, and last minute, then you can be a very valuable supplier, or maybe worm yourself into their supply chain by, initially picking up the crumbs, and then after that you can move into a proper supplier position. Usually they don't forget that, and they give people, not everybody, the same preference. So channel specifics are also that they will not have one supplier for something, because in case there is something for happening to that supplier, then the entire supply will be gone. For that is exact reason, out of stock means no business, meaning your supply, your warehouse burns down, I have no stock, and there is no backup supplier, then you really have a big problem, because you can just close your restaurant. There's no business today because I can't cook. Then, as I mentioned, time sensitive deliveries. That is not only the, out of stock, I forgot to have some to buy something, or I miscalculated the demand, so I need more than I initially ordered. That can always happen, but it's also a matter of, like, usually these guys want to start in the morning. So if you have something that serves breakfast, you need to have your deliveries before breakfast, not the evening before. No, really, very early morning for breakfast. The same as, places that specialize in dinner. Maybe they have a different delivery time in a day that they would like to, receive their goods. Again, this is one of the things that plays in this, is if you see that they are smaller restaurants, that they owners maybe are also serving and cooking. They're very busy around lunchtime. So for a salesperson to step in and say, would you like to sell my product? If you really want a sour relationship on day one, do that. So you have to respect the fact that these people are very busy and that they don't have time for you when you step in. And if you disturb them during the moment they make maybe their entire turnover for the day, the entire sales for the day, that you will not be the most popular salesperson they've ever seen. So that's the thing that you need to keep in mind. Then one of the things that mainly for larger businesses, but it comes up in some places also that are smaller, volume contracts. So, okay, this year, every month you do so many kilograms of this commodity. Now, then a volume contract will be signed to supply that at a specific price. Especially the reliability is yeah, like I said, a key thing. But prices, special prices. That's something that you need to keep in mind. That volume contracts are in play. If you know already 12 months in advance that every month you need to supply this guy so many kilograms of a certain commodity, then you can give him also a special price, because yeah, consistently you can adapt your supply chain to that and buy in larger quantity yourself, or produce in larger quantities, meaning the cost comes down. Then something that comes, yeah, we call it black bonus or bonus and reward system. So this is sometimes outright bribery, where people are not always with the dishonest bribery sort of thing, but just, okay, I like this guy, therefore I give him my business. Or bribery in a sense can also be that they give them something that the decision maker give them something that is very much sought after, and for that reason they give them the business. Now, some countries it's worse than others, and in some places some very, very personal for every single business. But it's some countries it's maybe more rule than exception. But they call it also bonus and reward system. So it's, okay, you do this much business, you get at the end of the year, you get something, or at the end of the month, you get something if you hit this target. These are attached to the volume contracts, basically. But a bonus and reward system is something to work for, to work towards, and that is something that, yeah, I guess, works on a certain level where people are motivated to push your product more. They, for example, have this in the alcohol business. So when I was working in a beer company, we also imported other alcoholic products into Indonesia. We had a couple of volume contracts with, also bars and restaurants that are serving our product, and they had to do a certain volume, so many barrels of this, for example, so many kegs. Now, that was actually the thing that they were looking at every month. They needed to do this much. And yeah, if they didn't make it, then in the end, it would mean that they wouldn't hit their bonus. Now, it needs a trained sales force, like I mentioned. It's a special kind of breed that you need. People who understand the Horeca, understand also the problems that are in Horeca. And in the end, price sensitivity is there, but reliability is king. So people would rather have a supplier that's a little bit more expensive, but can really deliver consistently and quality that I need. Then we come to the strategies. So the strategies are mixed margin. So you basically have a range of products you are supplying. So one of the companies I dealt with quite a lot. They were kings of that in Indonesia, which is Sukanda Jaya. Sukanda Jaya, let's say it's one-stop shop. You open a restaurant, you invite these guys, and you have everything you need, from bread to ice cream to whatever. Only alcoholic beverages they didn't do, but I mean, Indonesia is not a country where every restaurant has to sell that, so it's a more specific item. But mixed margin means that if I'm too expensive on my cheese, I'll drop the price of my cheese, but I'll get you back on the bread that I'm selling you as well. So that is, in the end, the bottom of the entire equation. You still make a profit because it's mixed margin. Then being complete, so really having everything. So that is also the Sukanda Jaya. I'm saying I'm a big fan of the company. Sukanda Jaya did that very perfectly. They had everything, so one-stop shop basically. And reliability. Reliability is something that the bigger you get, the more difficult it gets, of course, to keep everything in stock and do all your stock points to walk in line. But being reliable, saying, okay, when you need it really at 7 o'clock sharp in the morning, you are there at 5 minutes to 7, and you are delivering it. And if there is a problem, you fix it right away. So nobody is a victim of anything that goes wrong in your company. That's a very interesting one to specialize in, or to keep as in mind as a strategy for your business. Then customization. Like, I have worked for a company that did commodities, so we did a lot of fruit and vegetables. We did a lot of meat as well. Customization, for example, there were customers that want to have chicken cut up in certain number of pieces. Now, this is a very tedious job, and also something that we in the end, I think we didn't make much money on, but we were hoping that if we do that, then they will also buy other products from us. In the end, the mixed margin strategy would be that we still make a profit. So customization is also a strategy to go after. It's more expensive, but then if your customers are willing to pay for it, and in our case, unfortunately, not everybody was willing to pay for it. So in the end, it didn't really make the money, or it needs to serve the mixed margin purpose basically. So customization can be very powerful. And if you are a new player, picking up the crumbs, that is maybe very uh, interesting to ponder on, because you can't keep on eating crumbs all your life, but picking up the crumbs initially, that's the stuff that someone else doesn't want to do just to get a foot in the door. It works a bit like, okay, I'm ordering, that is usually the thing that a restaurant is ordering from one place. So one place, they order a specific number of items. They have backup suppliers, obviously. They will give some business to other suppliers. They have, maybe for every supplier they have a preferred supplier, but they will have backup suppliers for everybody. So if you actually have, the crumbs are basically what backup suppliers do. Is if a major supplier is dropping the ball, you pick it up. You do things. You have a foot in the door. As soon as a restaurant orders from you from one source, they will actually also order other things. So that is the idea, to slowly, step by step, do this. Come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for your attention. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.